Hello, my beautiful friends. We are talking water today. And you probably think I'm going to give you that standard information drink lots of water, make sure you're hydrated, all those kind of things. But no, I want you to take a listen to this because this is something I'm seeing across the board and experiencing across the board. And I think that old adage of just drink lots of water is actually working against us. So, you probably heard, you want to be hydrated, you want to stay hydrated. It might even help you lose weight. It will help your body feel energized. It will help everything process in your body so much better. And so you're drinking lots of water. You're being really conscious of making sure that you are drinking enough to stay hydrated. But the question then becomes is it doing for you what you had hoped it would do? Are you just doing it because you assume that if you didn't, it would actually make you feel worse? And are you struggling to drink it every day, to enjoy it every day? Are you putting things in it to try and make it more manageable, assuming that at least it's getting into you, so that's all you need to do? Are you asking the question, am I actually hydrating from this? Or is it possible that this is causing us to feel more dehydrated? Have you ever, you're really conscious of drinking every day, and then you have a day where you don't, and you just feel instantly dehydrated, and everything goes wrong, and you just don't feel right, and you're like, wow, I need to drink this water? What if it's possible that you weren't actually probably hydrating before? And what if you can do one simple thing that will not only improve the hydration in your body, but could quite possibly be a significant factor to a lot of the things that you feel just aren't quite right or aren't working quite right? So join me today. We have lots to talk about because the question is, are you drinking water or are you hydrated? And the two can be two very different things. Okay, so there's a big thing happening where water bottles. How many water bottles do you have at your house? Everybody is inundated with water bottles, and you think this water bottle will help me drink water, and this one will help me drink more. And it's such a huge market. And it is very important. Don't get me wrong. We want to be drinking water. But what we aren't sure of, we might not even know how it feels or what it looks like, is whether we're hydrated. Because it's important that our tissues actually take in the water, that our organs are flushed with it properly. And if that's not happening, then it's possible that the water we're drinking is potentially flushing out things that we need. And so this is a bit of a concept that's hard to get your mind wrapped around if you haven't looked into it very much. But what you want is vitamins and minerals. Generally, they're referred to more as trace minerals, and that's just it's really a wide gamut of minerals that are in such minute amounts. But what they do, and if you've ever been told to take in more water or take in salt to take in more water, that it might actually help, or that if you're taking too much water, you're flushing out the salts and then won't absorb. It's the same basic concept, because one of the easiest ways to get these trace minerals is from very valid sources of naturally occurring salts. And so it has all these different little minerals in it that, when consumed in very small amounts, will help your tissue take in that water. And so there's a lot of reasons why we might be short on these minerals. And, it can even be the food that things were growing in. It can have to do with things we do that we're sort of low on these trace minerals. It can have a lot of different factors. Sometimes medication or lifestyle or things we do deplete these minerals. And I think it's safe to say that generally across the board, the majority of us are low on all vitamins and minerals, and especially these trace minerals. And there's some really significant ones that have particular value to us that a lot of our symptoms are showing signs of deficiency. So let's go with the assumption we're low on them. And we just know that there's a lot of reasons why that's happening. So, what does that mean? What do we do? Obviously, there's other reasons you can be dehydrated. It can have to do with excessive exercise, just sweating from temperature. You can have that. You're just having a lot of dehydrating drinks, maybe not sleeping very well. All those can play roles in why you're dehydrated and vice versa. But the key one we're going to focus on is the lack of trace minerals because it's a significant factor. And the reason I know this is a significant factor is because a lot of the people that I've worked with will come to me wanting to improve their health, wanting to improve their nutrition. And the one thing they all say is, oh, I don't need to worry about water because I'm very conscious of making sure that I drink water all throughout the day. And then as we talk, the symptoms are feeding the idea of not hydrating. And so it's kind of like what I talked about where you just have that one period that you're low in water and you feel severely dehydrated, if you don't feel like you can get through a workout without water, you instantly feel like you have signs of dehydration. And one of the things we're always told is, if we drink more water, we won't be hungry all the time. And a lot of times our hunger signs are actually dehydration. And that's kind of the messaging that our body sends us is to consume something when it really just needs the water from it. All of that's true to an extent, but the fact is if we don't have these trace minerals in us, it doesn't matter how much water we're drinking because it's going to flush through, and if anything, it's going to take with it, flush out those trace minerals that we want. And as I have been working with people and they adopt a practice of using trace minerals daily, you can almost depict the pattern, and you can almost see when the body almost all of a sudden becomes engaged and takes in that water, because it will be like, they go for a few days and everything sort of feels normal. If anything, they appeal to the idea of drinking water more. They're kind of getting a sense of, oh, I want this water. They don't have to drink more. It's just that they want to drink the amount they normally drink. And then there's all of a sudden this day where the body wakes up and it's like it's a sponge. It's like pulling in all the water. And so they'll have a very short period where they'll almost feel dehydrated. And so the biochemistry of it all is that what's happened is everything's starting to receive the water, to absorb it. You finally got that suction like activity going on, that it's taking it out all in. And once that happens, it's like it wants to pull it from everywhere. So for a very short period, you'll actually have a day where you feel dehydrated, but it's a very exciting moment because it means that those trace minerals and that water level have balanced in a way. And now your body's sending that signal of, I want to pull in the water. And you know that it's being absorbed. The other thing we know is that, especially when I'm working with women, we're very aware of this feeling, and you will have a feeling of some water retention. And it's because it literally is. It's finally pulling it in. It's not retention in the sound that it's holding it, it's finally absorbing it. And so you just kind of have to go through this 24 to 48-hour period and let everything balance. But it's a very exciting moment because we know now it's actually the two are working together and they're going to balance out and keep you hydrated. The nice thing about all of this is that I've looked into a lot of the vitamin deficiencies that we're experiencing. And these trace minerals play a role in a lot of them. So, what if it's that you can simply take something very easy to take every day that's not only going to make you feel hydrated, that's also going to make you feel satisfied a lot more, but it's going to serve to solve a lot of these other issues. So it's not just about hydration, because trace minerals play a huge role in our immune function. And a lot of the ones that we hear, like zinc and magnesium, and especially selenium's kind of one we don't talk about much, but plays a huge role, especially in some hormone balancing. Our thyroid wellness really depends on those kind of minerals. And so we're seeing it that it's vital in bone health, especially in our nervous system. And our nervous system, if you think about it, is key that it's working optimally, because it's sending all the signals to the body to produce these hormones, to do this function, that it needs more of this, that it needs less of that. We need our nervous system working optimally at all times, especially to help us with relaxation and stress management. And when we want, creativity and awareness and focus, or when we want to relax and have downtime. And so these minerals are vital for this system. And it's proven that the majority of us are deficient, severely deficient. So, what a simple solution to start to boost our system. And if you feel like any of those kind of symptoms, even heart health, are a factor in your daily lifestyle, maybe not to the extent that it's showing up in blood tests or requiring medical intervention, but you know that it's not working optimally, and maybe you're just playing it up to age, or that certain things have happened to kind of compromise. That's not to be accepted. Trace minerals can do a lot to boost you here. And then, if you start to notice any benefit from that, I would consider going to a really high quality, very high level daily vitamin supplement, because it's a good chance that these two combined, your trace minerals and your daily multivitamins, are needed. And if anything, what they can do for you is rebuild what you don't know might be wrong, or rebuild what you don't know how to fix. And then that will leave you with some symptoms that you can really narrow down what nutrients might be lacking. And it may be as simple at that point is just making sure those get into your diet and your nutrition plan as a regular, frequent part of your plan. And it can be as simple as these three things working together to really boost a whole system. At least at minimum, it will narrow them down. The other nice benefit of working with a trace mineral component is that you get all these natural versions of these trace minerals, and your body then will use what it needs and won't what it won't. So when you really focus on a particular one or two and take them in high amounts, you don't know what you might be throwing off balance, and you can't be sure exactly what you need or how much you need. And so when you do it this way in a natural form, you allow your body to figure that out for you. So I'm just going to show you one of the very easiest ways to do this. And glass of water, of course. And I'm going to show you this brand. I don't believe that it's the one and only one to do. Um, Typically, a lot of them come from the Utah salts. And so you'll see it as trace mineral drops. Oh, that's not going to work very well. Trace mineral drops, often referred to even as electrolytes. And when we want to get our electrolytes this way, it really is the best way, because when we buy them in a sport drink, or when we buy more of the commercial brands, we're getting a lot of other additives to it that can actually be taking away from the value of the trace minerals. So this is really the one and only way, in my belief, to get them, and to get them in the best form for your body. And so all it is you may want to start slower and do it with a few drops a day just so you kind of don't have that drastic awakening day. But it recommends 20 drops a day. You can put them, in this glass. Or the other thing you can do, it will have a very mild salty taste. And so that concerns a lot of people. But it equals what you will take in those 20 drops will equal the same as a grain of salt on a teaspoon. Imagine that there's 30 grains of salt on your tea, or sorry, 300 grains of salt on your teaspoon. These drops, your daily dose of these drops will equal 1 grain. So if you're worried about the salt intake, please don't worry. It doesn't work that way. You've really got all these little pieces of the minerals that your body needs to help you absorb water. There's salts in our system that help us absorb water. And the key is to get good quality salts. So, especially if you're using salt in your food, I really encourage a really high quality, preferably Himalayan sea salt. But you always want to be checking that when you're using a sea salt that it's the only ingredient. There's no reason for anything else to be added to it. So that's why um, we end up having these other salts with these other ingredients, and it doesn't even work as it should, like an electrolyte, when we do that. So this in your water each day will solve a lot of that. You should actually start to notice a few days in a drastic difference and recognize that your body is going to have to balance the minerals with your water, and it may take a few days to a week to adjust, but it will happen. And then I don't need to tell anybody anything, because then you will just notice a level of hydration feeling that you didn't have before. It lasts longer. It's not like you're forcing yourself to drink the water, and you will just sense there's just a de-stress sort of feeling to your system, where all of a sudden you'll know, oh, this is what hydration feels like. And so you can continue to drink water at the amount you do, as long as it's not excessive, but you also be able to figure out better the right amount for you, because you will have this comfort zone, and not feel that, one missed glass of water makes you feel like something's lacking, or that you're really dehydrated. So I encourage you to try all of this, and then if it works for you, then consider a multivitamin that will take your the different components of where your body may be lacking, and all of this will come together to give you that base that you want. Remaining symptoms after you've been doing this for a month or so can help you really narrow down what might be missing. But I can't stress enough that we're kind of walking around severely dehydrated and not even knowing it, and the drinking the water is not working for us. So try this. Let me convince you otherwise, and see what a difference it makes for you in your everyday vitality, because I promise you, it's such a simple solution to feel a whole lot better. And you don't even feel that you have to put it in a little cup. If you have a big container of water, just put those same 20 drops in. It doesn't really matter the amount of water that you put them in. It more just matters that you kind of get your daily dose that you decide is right for you. So have fun, because water is supposed to be that vitality of life that we always wanted it to. And our bodies are meant to have these trace minerals in higher amounts than we do right now. We just have difficulty keeping them and getting them. So give those to yourself. Enjoy the vitality in the water of life, and try your best to see if you can get good sources of water, because a lot of tap water have additives to them, especially high amounts of fluoride will actually pull away from your trace minerals, and deplete those on you. That's one of the reasons. As well as if you're drinking a lot of commercial water, you're going to really be lacking these trace minerals, because in order to process it, it's depleted all of these. So if that's where you're going, it's going to be vital to make sure you're adding this, because you're not definitely not getting them. So those are two considerations to think. And beyond that, It's only a good thing for you. So make sure you're hydrated. Make sure you feel good from the water that you drink, and it's not such a burden to try and get that amount of water into you every day. You should feel very hydrated, very vital, and feel the energy that you get it from these electrolytes and trace minerals. Enjoy.